One thing I talk about a lot of other people talk about a lot is intensity in your training and recovery. And there's not a lot of talk about how to kind of blend those two things together. So with hard and intense training, you can't do that every single session, every single time, week after week. That's why we work in deload weeks, things like that. Another technique that you can use to kind of control your intensity a little bit is different variations of exercises, right? So on your more intense weeks, that's where you're going to be doing more compound lifts that are going to be typically heavier, not low reps, but just heavier weight because it's a compound movement as opposed to like an isolation movement. So we want to do both, right? Like when you follow my programs, I use what's called points of flexion, which is stretch position exercise, mid-range position exercise, contracted position exercise. So I'm using several different variations in every workout, but on a week where, say, my nervous system's a little bit fried, I don't have the energy, whatever, rather than trying to push it with like a big heavy lift that is probably not going to go as well anyway because I'm under the weather, fatigued, whatever the case may be, that's where I can work in some sort of different isolation variation that's still going to be a big stimulus to the muscle because it's more isolated, but because it's more isolated, it's going to be less intense on the nervous system, but not less intense on the muscle, right? Those are two different things to distinguish between as well, whether it's intense on the nervous system or intense on the muscle. And that's where a lot of people get fucked up is their muscles will feel good, but their nervous system will be fried, right? And so they'll think they're recovered because their chest isn't sore. So they'll hit, a heavy bench day and then they're just fucked and just goes downhill from there. So on that day, if you worked more, say like a floor press, it's a shorter range of motion, something like that. I'm just spitballing off the top of my head, something like that. As opposed to a full bench press, we're limiting that range of motion. Still gonna be hard on the muscle, but it's not gonna be as hard on the nervous system. So that's a way that you can kind of manipulate your training to allow your body to recover while still training intensely.